Do I
Till
have
the next meeting,
Do I have a
September
seconder? Councillor Fair. Any comments about deferring or not deferring? Not about the content? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carried. Next item, downtown washrooms, call for service update. Can I have a motion, please? So receive, Councillor Guy, Councillor Durning. Mr. Rice?
Your Worship, I do not have a presentation for this item, but I'd be happy to receive any questions from council on it.
Councillor Garris?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much for providing whatever data you are able to provide. That's greatly appreciated. I also understand that the data isn't necessarily specific to the downtown washroom. So knowing that what we have here may not necessarily be 100% to that washroom, I'm just wondering if there's appetite for council to dig a little bit deeper into this issue. I did just send an email earlier this morning from a resident that is also in the area that has been having substantial issues, and I'm not going to say it's 100% attributed to the washroom, because I think this is part of a much bigger issue at play here. I'm wondering if it is not the responsible thing to do for us to maybe go out to the local residents and to the businesses and actually get their physical input on the washrooms at this time, as opposed to what I've been receiving, which is piecemeal emails from some businesses, but not all businesses. So I'm wondering if we should be proactive and reach out to them, to those stakeholders, to the residents that are feeling the impacts.
There's a motion on the floor already to receive. There's a motion on the floor to receive, which we'd have to address first.
Yep, I
Okay.
haven't made a motion yet.
Okay? Any more comments? I'll call the question. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is carried. Councillor Garris?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I would like to put a motion forward that we reach out to the stakeholders, to the businesses within that area, as well as the local residents for their input before any decisions are made.
Is there a seconder for discussion? Okay, good. So I would ask you,
I can expand.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I can expand on that motion. And I don't know whether or not it should be, we've done workshops before. Sometimes they prove to be beneficial, sometimes they don't prove to be beneficial. So I would be looking towards staff to maybe give some direction on the best way that we can get the input that we need. I mean, I can go down personally to the businesses and to the residents, but I think this needs to be a collective endeavor, because these emails that we're getting, they do need to be addressed.
Question for administration? In terms of a process or options? Ms. Bridle?
Thank you, Your Worship. So I wasn't here at the previous meeting, but I'm gathering from the report that came back that the councillors expressed some concern by an individual who approached you regarding the downtown washroom facility location. And from that, we have provided back the stats that we do have in response to that location of that washroom and what it would mean to move it. If this is a priority of council and you wish to redirect some of our administrative staff to now go out and do a public consultation with the businesses and the residents in that area regarding this downtown washroom, that'll be a council directive we would receive, and we'd come back at how we approach that, as well as a timeline, because that is just that. It's a process. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it right, and it's going to take time and it's going to take resources. And if there has been a multiple amount of issues happening, we have not received any through City Hall directly, even though I understand the councillor has received one. I haven't received anything, and I don't know if other members are receiving the same. So if this is a priority of council, we need a resolution of that, and we'll come back and let you know what we can not do and what we can do and where it would fall in the priority of projects that are ongoing right now.
Councillor Dring.
So thank you. So that was my question is, I have not received any emails from citizens with complaints regarding those washrooms. So if staff haven't either, I'm just wondering what that number looks like, what the issue looks like. And I seconded it for a conversation around it. So I just need more information.
Councillor Quaring. Just a second, I'm just having a little technology. Can you turn
I'm done, thank you.
Got me
your
muted.
mic off? Too super. Councillor Quaring,
Thank
all
you.
yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I might not be a bad idea to reach out to the DVA, Downtown Vernon Association, because I think they might be able to shed some light on it. I think there has been some, I recall having had some discussions around some of the issues. I certainly wouldn't want to have a town hall like an Activate Safety Task Force kind of a concept, because that didn't go that well. So, but I think the DVA, and I would expect that the DVA would be very cooperative. They like to get into that kind of stuff and help. So, I could, if it's appropriate, I could make a motion that we have somebody from administration reach out to Keelan, executive director, and just see if they have any more information on what's going on in and around those washrooms. Should I make that motion or what?
No, we got one on the floor.
What?
Hold that one in your pocket. Yeah. Councillor Guy.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Although it's not the motion on the table, I like what Councillor Quaring has just suggested. But with respect to the issue, you know, we installed those washrooms to solve a problem, and presumably they are solving a problem. I haven't seen a single email myself indicating that there's any problems. I'm not disputing what Councillor Garris has seen in her email inbox, but I'm not so sure that it's a huge problem. But nonetheless, some residents and businesses are unhappy. Fair enough. And this report lays out what the cost of removing the facility would be, which would just get us back to square one. And we'd need $100,000 or more to relocate the facility. We do have some other, which is a fair chunk of change. We do have some other options, though. We could vary we could increase the hourly inspections, although the report says the effectiveness of that would be unclear. So it does seem to me that if we moved it, we would, as a general statement, we would simply move whatever problems there might be to a new location. Although that could be only too much of a high-level statement. There might be a better location nearby that would address the original problem, but have less impact on the neighbors and businesses. So I can accept that there might be a better location nearby. And that's why I like Councillor Quaring's suggestion to let the DVA go to work on this.
I think it wasn't, if I could correct, I think it wasn't go and have DVA work on it, but DVA could provide some information on it. I think that's the clarity. Councillor Fair?
It would seem to me that there's no scope to this issue. I have not received one email about it either. The email that Councillor Garris sent at 11:45 today, I don't I haven't read it because I haven't had time. I don't think it doesn't talk about the washrooms at all. So I can't really justify spending any further staff resources on this matter at this time, as there's just isn't sufficient rationale.
Councillor Garris and then Councillor Durning.
Thank you. So I just want to make myself very clear. I'm not suggesting we move the bathrooms at all. So I want to make that very, very clear, because I think that this is a much broader issue that extends past the washroom. I mean, I was here when we implemented the washrooms. We did it for a specific reason. I would like to believe that that reason has helped a lot of the businesses. But with regards to the complaints, I did send administration earlier this year an email from a fairly prominent business that has seen ongoing problems. And their complaint has been very specific to the washroom and the washroom alone. So administration does have that. Patty, I don't think you were here when I sent it. So I'm willing to rescind my motion if Brian wants to put forward a motion, but I do want to say one specific thing on that. The DVA only addresses the business needs. It does not address the residents' needs. And that is the other piece of the puzzle, because we have commercial business that is abutting up against the residential neighborhood that is being impacted by a much broader problem that extends beyond the washrooms. So that's the piece of the puzzle that I want to make sure that we are addressing. So maybe it's a two-piece where we ask the DVA to provide us information directly from the business community, and maybe we send a letter, keep it simple, within a 100-yard radius to the residences and get their input. And then maybe we can then extrapolate that data and go from there. But at this point, I'm not suggesting we move anything. I'm just simply suggesting that this is an issue. It's been brought to me. I have shared that now, and they're asking us to at least have the conversation. And so that's where we're sitting here today, is to have that conversation. So I will rescind my motion.
She's withdrawn. Yeah. So you've withdrawn it?
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor Durning, with her withdrawing the motion. Just a moment. Councillor Durning.
That's great, and I look forward to Councillor Quiring's motion.
Okay. Councillor Quiring, do we not already have a motion? We finished it. Good. Councillor Quiring.
Before I make, is it, I did get the email from Carrie or Councillor Garris at 11:45 with the photos. But that's not the location of the washroom where those photos are taken from. That's a result of the washrooms being closed, correct? But I mean, if they'll, yeah. So I'm a little cool to the idea of talking to the residents. But I guess there isn't that many residents there. It's a strata.
There is.
There's a lot of residential there? Well, yeah, Schubert. Okay, I'll make a motion. I'm going to make a motion that administration reach out to the DVA executive director for additional information regarding the functioning of the public washrooms.
You're saying washrooms?
Washroom.
That particular one? Thank you. Okay, because there's others.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Fur.
Councillor Quiring, can you just explain the rationale for your motion? There's no email that we've received. I know Councillor Garris said that she did, around this issue. The email that we're looking at doesn't have anything to do with the bathroom. Staff wrote a report. You want staff to spend more time about an issue that we haven't received email complaints about? Can you just explain the rationale for me?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. I know I have a recollection of the DVA being notified of issues around that facility. And so, and I know that I believe that they have information that might be valuable for us. I know that there was an issue around people finding people to actually clean that facility because there was a concern around the safety of the cleaners. So I think that there's a bit of information that maybe all of council would benefit from, and I think the DVA has it readily. So I'm not looking for administration to spend a bunch of time on this. Just contact the DVA. What have you guys heard about it? Do you have any documentation? Give it back to council just so that we're a little more rounded with what we know. I think there's more information out there that is easily accessed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, last comment. I would suggest alternatively at the next DVA meeting, you could ask for that information. Maybe they could provide it and you could just bring it just to save administration time, but just a thought.
Follow up, Councillor Quarry?
I can absolutely do that, actually. I mean, none of us are here at the next DVA meeting because we're all at UBCM except for this guy, but I can phone Keelan and just ask him for a memo. He'd be happy to do it. So that I can do that, and then I can withdraw my motion.
I think that makes sense. You can make that choice.
I'm happy doing that. I'll give the information to administration, and I'll do that.
Okay.
So I'll withdraw my motion, and I'll do that.
Councillor Garris?
I guess it's really hard to have a discussion when there's no motion on the table at this point in time. No, that's okay. So I was just going to ask staff, how much work would it be to send an email off to the DVA and have the DVA provide you with the data? How much work capacity does that take? And I know you guys are busy, so I recognize that.
Mr. Bridle?
Yeah, Your Worship. Excuse me. Just getting my voice back. So it would be done through the administrator's office. So I would simply contact Keelan and bring it back and not do a report on it. I would just be forwarding the information to council regarding Keelan's response. And basically the question is, I would like them to provide any information they have on any concerns or thoughts on that washroom located on the corner of the across from Safeway there, and if there's been any concerns or issues or benefits to the downtown. And that's all I would be asking for.
Okay, so it's reasonable. So the only reason I would like this to go through this channel as opposed to council requiring is because it's a directive of council. So it becomes something that we can track. And I'm not putting any timeline on it or anything like that because I know we're heading into a very busy fall with budgets and things like that. But I'm okay with that as long as Councillor Quiring is going to do that, which I trust that he will. I know he will, and we can get that information back. And I just want to stress the reason why I'm bringing this up is because if you have even one business or one resident that has ongoing concerns, we have a responsibility, council has a responsibility to at least have a discussion on it. And I think we have to be very careful not to brush it aside because one or two or three businesses are choosing to communicate with only one or two councillors, and that's why we're bringing this forward. So, and then with regards to the residents, I think what I will do, because I don't think there's an appetite to go beyond that, I will just deal with that on my side with the emails that I'm getting, and then I will just forward them on directly to councillors, and should council just choose to add that into the mix, that'll be up for them to decide.
Yeah, I'd just make a minor suggestion, which is if you get an issue sent through to you, send it on to administration. Good, thank you. All right, I think this item is done. We have no other motion on the floor. We'll move now to matters